And welcome to this week's edition of Utah Business Matters, your weekly television window to small business here in the state of Utah. And you know what? A lot of business happens just like the one behind me. Small businesses, no huge storefronts, but Neil and Jared are saving lives one at a time, believing in the power to quit.
Many addicts get to that point where they're so hopeless that they don't know where to go and they can't touch or feel hope anymore. And I was there. And as I was preparing to do this, to engage in ending my life, my daughter came home from school a little bit faster than she normally did. My little 8-year-old daughter looked at me and she said, "Remember, Dad, you have carpool tomorrow." And I found hope in a carpool situation, that I had something I needed to strive for at least for the next 24 hours. And that is when I started meeting the people who helped me help myself.
My experience with Neil was in some ways very common, something I deal with very frequently. People coming when they're at the end of their rope. They're done, either from a standpoint of they're done with life. They don't even know what the next step might be.
My addiction abuse problem was alcohol.
He was ready to get better.
I have empathy for this program because I've been there. I've been where they're at. And through really meeting the right people and getting the right information, I was able to come out of what I would consider to be my addiction abuse problem.
He kind of started telling me all the reasons and struggles and what was happening and why he couldn't be better. I just said to him, are you done being a baby? Are you ready to get on with this or not? Or you just want to sit there and make excuses? For him, that moment was kind of his epiphany.
He was the very first person I met who looked at me and gave me the information I needed to be able to move forward in my life. And I healed and I entered into sobriety. And then he and I got together and said, "Hey, let's share our story."
He came back and says, "You know what? I want to do for other people what you helped me do."
Our program is a residential treatment program that you would get if you were to spend $20,000, $30,000 a month to go to a residential facility. It's that type of program, but it's all online. You get videos, you get webinars, you get podcasts, you get workbook assignments, you have accountability. That's really why we came up with the program in the beginning, was to get this information out to people so they can have that and they can get the help they need in their homes where the triggers happen. A lot of times the family does not want to be involved because they've been hurt so much. And we show them how that they can be involved while still maintaining their boundary.
As a mom, you know when things aren't as they should be. And so if you have those suspicions or those feelings, just keep searching.
When I started doing drugs, I was about age 16.
I had a lot of anger towards him.
After about 2 years of smoking pot, I was like, you know what, this high isn't doing it for me. I can't do this anymore. So I went up to ecstasy, pills, speed, anything that could get the next high.
So when it happened, I was terrified.
I just one day decided I couldn't do this anymore. You know, I had lost relationships with my parents, my friends, my family. I wasn't liking the road I was going down.
That was one thing that Power to Quit did that really helped. They just took it one day at a time, one step at a time. You know, Trent didn't have to worry about what he was going to do for the week or the month or the year. All he had to worry about was what to do, what to focus on that day.
The first time I came in here, they showed me that I can turn everything around. I can, you know, be successful in life. I can go to college. I can do whatever I want.
Of all the people that we deal with and help and that I've been around that have had addiction and have made it to that other side, meaning sobriety, that they've conquered their addiction, they're living good, happy, productive lives, I have yet to meet one who would give up their experience of addiction.
It's something horrible that happened in my life, but it was an experience, it was a learning experience. I now know what type of person I am.
Trent's a completely different person now.
I've been clean for over 2.5 years now.
I can definitely say I like him. I like him as a person and I love him as my son.
We have programs for pornography, we have programs for alcohol, we have programs for drugs and substance abuse issues. We have them for anxiety and depression.
As we're talking to a person, we're quickly picking up on how much resistance we're getting with the things that we're talking about. So if we're getting a lot of resistance, they're not ready.
We made the program so cost effective that we really truly believe anybody can afford it. We have word of mouth spreading like crazy right now from one family member who actually received success referring our program to another person. And we start with hope, giving them hope. Not giving them hope, but showing them where hope is, where they've misplaced it. Hope has always been there, they just haven't recognized it. My advice to family members, number one, is it's not your fault. Don't take responsibility or assume responsibility for another person's action. Yeah, it's frustrating, but the minute you start getting so much anxiety and so much stress and so much emotional integration into that behavior, you give all the power to that person who's using drugs, all of it.
It's just you don't have the skills to deal with someone who's addicted. You don't. And family members need to recognize that and get help to learn how to deal with an addict. Because quite frankly, most of the things that people intuitively think are helpful are actually enabling the addict.
When I was at my point of absolute destruction, rock bottom, suicidal, I was clear down here. And I thought my daughter, my oldest daughter, was up here. And she said to me, "Dad, no. When you were there, so was I. I wasn't doing alcohol. I wasn't addicted, but you drugged me down there." And she was 10 at the time.
We're trying to literally change how somebody thinks. So in order to do that, you can't just say, well, think differently. You have to fill that void up with something, because that's what they're trying to fill with addiction. They're trying to fill a big black hole. There's a void there.
Most people that are successful in addiction recovery want addiction recovery. They're not being forced into it, they want it. And if they want addiction recovery, they can achieve it. I'm living proof.
I just think it's amazing that he's taken experiences that he's gone through in his life and has been able to turn it around and just give back and help other people see what he had to discover himself.
If a person comes with the right approach of getting to their core issues, I believe that we can help all of them if they're willing. If they're willing and their family's willing, I believe that there's help for all of them.